Imagine using an EU-wide app to pay your bills, check in at an airport, rent a car, or upload a medical file. You log in with a unique lifelong ID number. To some, this probably sounds very convenient, much like traveling easily across borders with a digital COVID certificate that's recognized everywhere. To others, it's the stuff of nightmares, a digital prison of permanent surveillance and control. Either way, plans for an EU digital identity are coalescing, with a common toolbox expected to be unveiled this September.
Water is essential for all life. Without it, we would cease to exist. But what if your ability to access water could be manipulated and even restricted? What if a trip to the grocery store meant complying to a set of rules? Or what if filling up at the gas station came with strings attached? Would you violate your conscience?
The water ATM is a new way to distribute the water. Everyone in Hadado has got one of these tags. When a tag is held at the water ATM, the water comes down. It's as simple as that.
Our mission is to banish checkout lines for good. You can simply walk in, check in when you enter, pick up whatever you want, and simply walk out. Zip in.
And then you do your left palm.
Okay.
It's not a TSA checkpoint or the entrance to a high security area.
Enter the phone number linked to that Amazon account.
It's grocery shopping at Whole Foods. This palm scanning payment option is one big change the tech giant has brought to Whole Foods. It's already in 20 stores, and it's rolling out to 65 more soon.
National Fuel Pass is a system that assigns a personalized, unique QR code for consumers, enabling equitable access to the country's fuel supply through a quota allocation system.
Former Labour Prime Minister Tony Blair and former Conservative Party leader William Hague have come together to jointly advocate for the UK to roll out digital IDs. Writing in the Times newspaper, they called for a digital ID for every citizen, a national health infrastructure that uses data to improve care and keep costs down, and sovereign AI systems backed up by supercomputing capabilities. In other words, everything that you need to know about our bodies and our lives, all on a microchip.
Our concern is the combination of sort of a global singular ID that combines everything with a digital currency, which is being pushed simultaneously along with this kind of concept. So our concern is that you get to the point where it's very easy to literally flip a switch and prevent you from participating in society.
Imagine a future where artificial intelligence watches you try and charge your electric vehicle or put fuel in your old car and decides you've already emitted too much CO2 this month. Result, no power or fuel for you. Or you try and buy a steak and the AI decides you've consumed enough environment-wrecking beef, you can't buy it. Imagine you want to travel to London for a meeting and the AI decides you've tweeted something the government doesn't like. No ticket for you. The usual voices will say all of this is just conspiracy theory, but the past 3 years have proved that today's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's fact.
We stand at the divide between a free personal enterprise future and a digital surveillance age. If nothing is done to stop this bill, government will sit in the middle of every interaction Australians have with each other and with the world. And it achieves this in the same way China does, by creating a digital identity that forms a central part of a person's life. You can call it a license to live.
To shop online, you'll have to use your digital ID to prove you are who you are. Just to read your email, to use online banking, Even to open your computer will require your digital ID. You'll be in digital jail until you open it with your digital key. All of this can be connected to your carbon footprint and the rest of your social credit score. Make no mistake, all of it is on the Chinese model that enables the state to watch, track and record everything you do and everywhere you go. The cameras are already in place around us and in our phones and screens, alongside the microphones that can listen. All of this can be tied to a central bank digital currency, not actual money you can hide under the mattress, just a digital credit rating monitored before any and every transaction.
What began with COVID contact tracing, vaccine passports and QR check-ins will soon be formalised by an inescapable digital identity. It signals the complete end of consumer privacy, the end of citizen anonymity, and the beginning of a big brother digital age that treats the people of Australia as products rather than free human beings. The government intends to build a complete digital record of every Australian to be shared and used. Our medical history, our shopping preferences, who we associate with, whether our choices are really so-called green, social security, veteran services, travel records, website viewing, employment status, and social media comments. Everything will go on the record and be available to any large corporation that can pay for access.
What I hate is the idea that there's one file in the world that's got Bev Turner on it, and in that file is everything: my health status, my criminal status, my bank accounts, my everything.
Most of these digital IDs are going towards biometrics where, you know, now it's not just that you've got a provisional driving license that shows your age, but you've got something as sensitive as your DNA that could also be linked with your internet use, your financial habits, your behaviours, where you go, all kinds of information. And that's what the kind of, obviously health information as well. And that is really what is starting to happen at the European level, which is a real risk.
All-encompassing is the proposed digital ID that's being discussed?
It's almost like a control mechanism, if you like. I mean, without being too dramatic about it, this really is a means of collecting data by your digital ID. Your digital ID is your face, really. Your facial recognition will unlock everything that you need to access, goods and services, bank accounts, whatever. And we're about to enter the zero trust world. And that zero trust world really, it means that you, in order to access all these goods and services and everything that you normally access in a free world, you won't be able to, because you will have to authenticate all the time.
How much of the infrastructure is already there? You know, you talk about facial recognition, you know, in terms of the cameras that will do this all around us. I know they're on the phones and on the screens. Is it all there waiting for a green light?
It's all there. The infrastructure is there. And unfortunately, I mean, you may have noticed that in your supermarkets now, the human tills are going and you've got these self-service tills. Well, with those self-service tills comes facial recognition. You will be given your carbon credits, and when those are done, when you've expired them, maybe you've bought too much, whatever, they don't like meat or whatever. You know, the biometrics in the supermarkets, and there will be biometric doors eventually. That's what Tesco's are looking at the moment. You know, those doors don't open if you're facial recognition.
Happening now in China, where they are digitalised, is a social credit system. So you and I, who spoke out about lockdown, we knew the damage it would be doing to our children. We knew the damage it would do to our healthcare. We knew the damage it would do to our society and to our funds. And we're in this state because of what they did to us over lockdown. You and I would be locked up. And if we weren't locked up, we would have no social credit. You wouldn't be able to go to the cinema. You wouldn't be able to go out. You'd be completely controlled because you didn't have the same opinion of those that are controlling the digital ID.
We've all heard about the Chinese model of surveillance and social credit score. So it's not paranoia, is it? It's not conspiracy theory to say that if there's the will in government to transform this into something whereby your behaviour online can be a mark against you or in your favour, That's not conspiracy theory, is it?
No, it's all the facts are there. And it does seem that, we all know we've all been debt slaves. This is a transition into identity slavery.
I think it's very hard for people who've grown up and enjoyed Western liberty and human liberty to imagine literally that we're going into a system where literally our homes, our cars, our communities become digital concentration camps. It's a little bit like bringing up a corral around us, and CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and vaccine passports or digital IDs are sort of the last shutting of the gate. When this gate closes on us, we literally will be sitting in a system where the central banks believe that our assets belong to them, and they can dictate where we can spend money and what we can spend money on. If you don't behave, you can have your money turned off.
I would note that generally, we do live in a society right now that is very polarized and divided. And we're seeing governments on both sides stir up the population, where we have, the government saying, the Prime Minister, for example, saying terrible things about the unvaccinated. We have, people saying, well, if you don't get vaccinated, you deserve to die, things like this. These are examples. But the fact is that the climate is there for the government to be able to say, you know what, these people, as Justin Trudeau said, are racist and misogynist, whatever. We have to deal with how much longer do we have to tolerate these people? And when you start speaking like that, and you have an infrastructure wherein you could potentially turn the switch off on those people, to me, that's 1 + 1, and all you need now is equals 2.
Here's the thing. Our governments want digital ID. For the longest time, most of us have been slaves to debt. In the future, we are to be digital slaves, our every move under round-the-clock surveillance and subject to the yes or no of Big Brother. When it comes to bait and switch, this is the end game. Once digital ID is in place, they won't need the bait anymore because we'll have swallowed it.
The implementation of a digital ID will mark the beginning of a new era. An era in which men in powerful positions will seek to control the consciences of men. The time is not far distant when the prophecy of the revelation will be fulfilled, when no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. Will you stand when every earthly support has been cut off, when the powers of hell have arrayed themselves against the people of God? Will you stand with your face to the foe and say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him? When the religion of Christ is most held in contempt, when his law is most despised, then should our zeal be the warmest and our courage and firmness the most unflinching, to stand in defense of truth and righteousness when the majority forsake us, to fight the battles of the Lord when champions are few. This will be our test. At this time, we must gather warmth from the coldness of others, courage from their cowardice, and loyalty from their treason.
So, beloved, because I love you, I want to say this. There's coming a crisis. But you don't have to be fearful. Just spend more time in watching and praying. Our message is a life and death message. We are to make it appear as the great power of God. The perils of the last days are upon us. In our message, in our sermons, in our Bible studies, we are to make the people know the danger they are in. Let not the solemn scenes which prophecy has revealed be left untouched. If our people were half awake, if they understood the nearness of the events portrayed in the Revelation, a reformation will be wrought in our churches. A reformation would be wrought in our churches, and many more would believe the message. If you watch and pray, you'll be prepared for the coming crisis. Why? I have not given to you the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Just watch and pray. Watch and pray.